Over to you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. So, following multiple incidents online with people we shan't name, we all know that the idea of influencers is becoming a bit of a thing. And we just wanted to ask a few people a few questions about what do we think about them, how do we define them, and what we see as their impact on the community.
Did you get some introductions?
Yeah. And introductions of Derek, the CyberWarrior. Can you give us a wave, Derek? Yep. You are getting a round of applause. I don't know if you can hear it. And Steph, Infosteph, give us a wave. Hey, there we go. And we've already introduced Scott. I'm sorry, I've still not met you properly. But yeah, onwards. And our first question. Do you want to?
Oh, okay then. Yeah. Right, okay. So, I suppose ladies first, I think. Scott, no. That's mean. Right. What do we consider an influencer? Does the platform matter? Does reputation matter? The visibility, whether they've got a blue tick or not? Steph, what do you class as an influencer in our industry?
This is a question that, and can everybody hear me?
We can, yes, thank you.
Okay. This is a question that I'm not the best at answering because I just hate that term influencer. I feel like everyone on some level is an influencer of something or someone. So I think that goes from like a conversation you can have at the grocery store to just someone online tweeting their experiences. So I will say, though, what I think the term is from my understanding, and it's no way based on the dictionary, is just a person that is highly visible and that people have some sense of trust in because of information from them that they've consumed previously. So that's what I would say.
Excellent. CyberWarrior next.
Yeah. Can you hear me, everybody?
Loud and clear.
Okay, cool. So in my perspective, I'm kind of along the line same as Steph, in that in our reality in the social media and things of that nature, people will kind of give you that definition of influencer just because maybe you have some reach. But the reality of it is we have the capability to influence somebody every day of our lives. And that's been a big thing that I preach, is that no matter how old or how young somebody is, you can learn from everybody. I don't care their background or anything like that. So we can all know someone that influences us. But in the world that we live today with social media like LinkedIn and Twitter and YouTube and everything else, it's those people that aren't afraid to put themselves out there that become known as influencers.
Mr. McGready.
Thank you. I really like Steph's answer. Just this idea that anybody can be an influencer. I think that's absolutely true. You look at, conventionally, a lot of people look at Twitter follower numbers or following numbers and go, oh, that's a big number. I want to get there because then my voice will matter. I've seen people with 100 followers or 10 followers make a damn good point, change my outlook, change the tools that I use or whatever it may be. So yeah, I think anybody can be an influencer. And I'm sure we'll get onto this. It's just how they use that power. That's the question.
Yeah.
Does the platform matter?
No. Platform agnostic for me. It can literally be a conversation at a B-sides over a vendor table. It can be someone seeing a sticker and then going, oh, what's that? Let's have a chat about it. And then someone hears it in passing and it's like an earworm song that just sticks in your brain. I don't think it matters. Steph, Derek?
I would say it doesn't matter. I think even before social media, you would hear people reference like teachers they had in their past or family members that said something or had a conversation with them at a particular time. So it could be in person, it can be on a platform, it can be social media or whatever. I don't think it matters though.
I have to agree. I don't think it matters. I do think depending on the platform will depend on the visibility of what you put out there because of all the algorithms, because of the way, like if you don't post every single day, then your voice may only be seen by like one or two people that consistently follow you because they don't follow as many people. But it's still getting heard by somebody. Somebody's going to take it in, learn from it. I just think the platform, whether it's in real life, in passing, in conversation or online, it just determines who hears it and if the people that hear it are willing to spread the word.
Lovely, thank you. The following question I think you've already addressed, which was what was the impact that the influencer has on our own community, but then also the way that it's influencing the wider community, the public perception of information security. Is it giving us a net good? Is it a net positive? Is it a net negative at the moment? With certain things that have happened quite clearly in the public view?
I don't think we're at a net negative or a net positive just yet. I follow a lot of positive people myself, but at the same time, I see from those same people a lot of negativity and a lot of drama, and a lot of it is infighting. So we are doing a lot more damage to ourselves than anybody else is doing to us. And that includes the mass media. I despise when the media and mainstream media uses the term hackers in a derogatory sense, but that they're not the worst culprit. It's us. We are constantly fighting with ourselves based on one belief or one thing or another and tearing each other down. I mean, you can look at the certification industry for that. And so I don't think we're at a positive or negative yet. I think we're still kind of breaking even with a lot of people trying to do a lot of good, but then a lot of people tearing down that same good for one reason or another, whether it's ego or trying to be an elitist or whatever the case may be. It's kind of up in the air right now. So
I tend to agree with that. I find there's a lot of people, it really depends on who's watching certain people, but there's a lot of people on, let's take Twitter, for example, or just online, that are far more keen on fighting over password entropy rather than realizing that the good advice that's coming out. Let's take the NCSC in the UK, for example. Hey, 3 random words is a good starting point for thinking about better password strategy. This is like turning the evergreen, right? The ever given round. It's going to take a while for the general public to get it. And then we have people like ourselves fighting with each other. No, that's not, it's not good enough, and entropy and, 10 characters is not a valid thing. No, you can make a 10 character strong passwords if it's super unique and this is the entropy. But at that point, we've lost the general public's, they don't care. I think it depends on the platform. It depends on the topic. It can depend on a lot of things. How many times have we seen a poor little granny on Twitter being destroyed because she bought Password Book? So that's...
I thought you were going to say that because she went to DEF CON, but okay.
Well, yes, that too. Mask up, kids.
I thought we were trying to keep too much out of that. Steph, have you got more to add?
Yeah, just a little bit. I agree with both of you. But also, I think that a common misperception, I think, is that Infosec Twitter or Infosec LinkedIn or whatever other platform is the extent of the entire community. And it isn't. There are a lot of people that don't even participate in social media that are in our industry that definitely influence how things go and move. So we get into these little squabbles on Twitter, especially. But these platforms that ultimately are only a part of or a percentage of the influence of the conversation as an industry whole. So I think that sometimes I see the back and forth and I'm like, we're fighting over semantics or preferences and not really taking into account that we're a very small group of people that are in a small world compared to the entirety of everything. Everybody has to deal with their own version of their industry or their focus or their priority in life. So they're not going to have the best practices. And like you were saying, sometimes you have to go for like the easiest win to turn the corner, and then you go for the next easiest win, the next easiest win, until you get to a point of an ideal state. But you can't just jump to the ideal state, and everybody's going to have like a preference for how things are supposed to go, or an argument. It's a part of social media, is putting your thoughts and your views and your opinions out there. You're going to see a lot of fighting as a result of that. But sometimes I'm like, this stuff is small compared to what we deal with, like when we clock into our 9-to-5s and we're working in our contexts. So yeah, that's what I would say about, I wouldn't say it's positive or negative. I will say it's kind of skewed. Like, it's not indicative of the entirety of the industry. So.
Told you, Scott. Right. So, question. I know. Next question. Who in your lives have been a good influencer for you? Start with Derek first.
Oh man, that's a rough one. Actually, I've posted a lot about this, especially when it comes to like being on LinkedIn or even in, you know, the different shows and things like that I do, and how I reach out to people. I mean, we can go from anyone that I've met in real life, as far as, you know, my father, all the way up to Keytron Evans, who was one of my instructors, and my time in the military, all the way to Chris Cochran of Hacker Valley Media, and Ronald Eddings, Monica, and Jen. They've all been amazing people that have helped me along my way, in terms of just growing who I am and in what I do. Mike Miller, there's just so many. So honestly, it's hard to say. I will say for a fact that Hacker Valley Media and then Meryl Vernon from what's coming up to be the Cyber Queens have probably been two huge helps in what I have been developing as a brand and who I am.
Steph, how about you?
This is always a tough question, because I feel like every year I grow. So every year, whatever focus that growth is in would attract a new influence. But I would say probably the most consistent would be the stereotypical parental thing. My parents, of course, have a heavy influence on me. But in addition to that, I would say like my first ever mentor, like she had a few conversations with me at a time where I was kind of like concerned about my space or my place in this industry. And her influence has been long reaching. Like Derek mentioned too, there's so many people that I've met on my journey too that have influenced me and continue to influence me. But if I start naming, it would take so long. So I would say the people you meet along the way definitely influence. Anyone I keep in my circle is an influence in me, because, you know, you need a support system. So all of these things kind of I borrow on occasion.
Last but not least.
If I don't say you, will I get fired on Monday?
No, you're fine.
One of the biggest influencers in my life is, and this is going to sound super cheesy, but it's got to be my other half. Without her convincing me about 12 years ago or 14 years ago to quit my job and basically start down a security path, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys today. I wouldn't be doing all the community stuff that we're involved in. I wouldn't be working in cyber. I'd probably be working a 9-to-5 and hating my life. Outside of that, I think there's a really, really cool comment someone made once. I don't know whether it was brought up there, but it was like mentees can also be mentors. So every single person that I've met or helped out or pushed in a certain direction, even just very, very slightly, I get so much out of that and they influence me. Like I get to see where they're going and go, oh, that looks shiny. That looks cool. Every single person that I met on Happier, everybody that brings good vibes to the industry that I've met is just awesome, and they influence me whether they know it or not. Professionally though, gotta be, I don't know where he is on stage because I can't see him, but it's gotta be the guy that shot me with a Nerf gun last year. He's been a massive help to many of us. So yeah. Be more like Dave.
I'm blushing now. You can't see it, but
I just don't want to get fired.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I think you've sort of already answered it, but any other advice or tips for being a good influence in the community and for the wider perception? Derek?
Don't be a dick.
Scott as well.
Don't be a dick. Just don't be a dick. That's it. It comes down, boiled down to one simple, cold, hard truth. Don't be a dick. And, like, rein your friends in. If you see them being a dick online or, like, attacking someone or fighting over a point, it doesn't matter. Who cares about verification? Who cares about blue text? Does it really matter? No. It's a fucking digital dick tick. Who cares? Like, it's like NFTs. I know I'm going to piss off a few people. Who cares about follower numbers? Who cares about how popular you are? Just have fun and good vibes, man, and, like, stop being dicks. Sorry, I cut everybody else off. Don't be a dick.
Thanks, I just want a bit.
No, but I want to echo Scott's thoughts on that. Is we spend so much time bringing each other down and tearing each other down, and you know, we forget that security takes everybody. It takes a village, and it's gonna from all shapes, all sizes, all backgrounds, all ages, everything. It doesn't matter, and we spend so much time worrying about things outside of security that we then cut people off because they believe something I don't believe. And in security, you can't do that. Cutting somebody off, unless they legitimately treat you like garbage, there is no reason because they post something or say something you don't like to not actually listen to their security opinion. I may not like you as a person, but I may respect the hell out of what you bring to the table in security. And I think that is what we need to get back to is, I don't need to be your friend, but if you have an opinion and it's valid, I'm going to listen to it because that is how we secure our network. That is how we do things as an industry. And if we keep bringing people down or letting people, you know, blocking people and muting people like, oh, I don't want to hear your opinion on this topic. Okay, then mute that topic, not the person, because when they do post something about security, there's a good chance it's probably going to be valid with their experience.
And Steph?
Yeah, I agree with both what Derek and Scott said. I think I want to also add that, again, it is only a percentage of real life. As much opportunity and as much fun I've had with having a platform and having people to talk to, a good thing that I enjoy about influencing is logging off and living life and going and frolicking in the woods or whatever I need to do to get back to who I am. Like, I think sometimes you can get wrapped up in producing and engaging in community that you kind of forget that there's, you know, I love talking to some of my coworkers or people I know in the industry locally that have no idea what's going on. And you're like, oh, did you hear that debate on Twitter? And everybody's like, what are you talking about? Because it just gives you more color and more perspective to add to the conversation. So I would say, yes, don't be a dick. I think that is, honestly, like, I think that that's a mantra for your life, period. Outside of influencing too, is like, it's just so much more fun and lighter to be kind to people and not be a dick. And also continuously being open to different perspectives. Like Derek said, like sometimes it's going to come from someone you don't really care about or admire, but if it's the truth, it's the truth. And if it's going to make you better, who cares what source it came from, as long as it's going to help you improve. So I agree with all the other, what the other panelists have contributed to say that it's better to just treat it as a very positive source. Try to do your research, be easily corrected. But also be strong in boundaries, which is a little bit of a contradiction sometimes. But I think towing the line and always understanding that there is no peak, there is no, oh, I've got it down. I think there's always going to be a wrench thrown in your plans when it comes to being an influencer, whether you intended to be or did not. So continuously be open to learning, as well as the last bit of advice I would give.
It's brilliant. Thank you very much. I think what we should do now is open up to any questions.
Opportunity to ask three amazing people Any question you like. Keep it clean.
There we go.
Thanks a lot. I think what you've said is all really nice, but it doesn't get away from the fact that we do have this weird culture on Twitter, not on LinkedIn, of people in cybersecurity with major follower amounts that are really aggressive. Not that they're beating anyone up physically, but they're really aggressive in the fact that this person said the wrong thing in quotation marks, or this person's anti this trend. This person affected my mental health with their fucking tweet. There's almost like a call to arms where they'll gather other people up to like attack someone. I know of someone that's lost their job because they bought someone a drink online. Like there's like loads of random stuff that's happened. So although everything you're saying is really nice, how do we approach these people that do represent our industry publicly with 100,000 plus followers, but they're incredibly aggressive and just cruel? How, like, as an industry, what the hell do we do about that?
Start with Steph.
Was not hoping to go first, but I will. It's interesting because I do understand and see exactly what you're talking about and referring to, which is why I mentioned like going out and touching grass is definitely something that people should do regularly. But I agree. There are people that, they've immersed themselves in this world and they enjoy the power that kind of comes from the echo chamber it creates, where you get to a point where everyone just agrees with you, whether you're right or not. And I don't know if there's much that we can do. I think they have amassed the following with the behavior that they've exhibited. So the people that do follow them and are empowered by them enjoy that kind of environment as well. The only thing you can do is discourage it, call people out when necessary. But it's a hard thing. That's kind of the downside of social media. I don't know that I have a fix for that other than being the antithesis of that. So I'm not sure. I'm actually curious to see what
Yeah, we are desperate for an answer.
From my perspective, so the way I have built myself and my brand is I avoid anything divisive. Online. Let me state that. Online. In person or in a one-on-one call, I will discuss any topic with anybody, anytime. I have no problem voicing my thoughts one-on-one. The problem comes in, so the point being made is it turns into an echo chamber and people start ganging up on everybody else because this one person who has massive following and massive influence says, oh, this person is bad. Nobody knows who that person may be. They may have said one thing that just so happened disagreed with this person's following, but because that whole following's an echo chamber, they get ganged up on. I have seen it. They've tried to do it to me, but again, I don't get involved in stuff like that, so I just let it go. But it is one of those things where you can only do so much, and I avoid the drama. Half the time I find out at the end. So if you want to be safe online, just don't involve yourself in those situations. Like if you literally don't want to be a part of it, then don't be a part of it. I've been unfollowed because I won't voice my opinion on certain things. I don't care. For me, I'm here to help others, to influence everybody possible to get into cybersecurity. I am here to motivate, to inspire, and teach when I can. I'm not here to talk any politics, religion, or anything like that. That is not my platform. That's not what I'm here for. And honestly, if you have to really care about that to judge me, then I don't really need you around anyway, because that's not something to judge someone on when I'm here promoting everything you're doing and trying to get you better in the field. So in my opinion, just avoid the nonsense. And if you get involved in something like that, incidentally, because maybe someone called you out, okay, cool. Brushed it off, block them, do whatever. But realize, to Stephanie's point, and this is a lot of the things that I've been saying lately, go outside. Go sit in the sun, lay in the grass, take a walk in the woods, do whatever you need to do to find your peace, because that peace is going to do a whole hell of a lot more for you than being online will. And that's what it comes down to, is we've immersed ourselves in my whole life is this screen, and you're going to burn out. You're going to get mentally spent. And until you go outside and get that vitamin D by the sun, you're not going to be healthy. Your mental health is just going to degrade.
Yeah, cool. I've been at the receiving end of an ass blasting on Twitter multiple times. There's a Venn diagram out there, which is, the Backstreet Boys here, and then 5-year-olds, and tell me why's in the middle, because I ask why. Too much, I want verified. Why? And then get dogpiled. I've been dogpiled a few times, and you're right. To the person who asked the question, you're right. It's all nice and twee, and you can go outside and touch grass and put your phone in the drawer, but when you turn it back on, you're going to have 100 notifications of people calling you all sorts. I had death threats. I had people telling me to go kill myself and stuff, which is just horrible. Because I dared to ask why. Actually, I think that particular incident, I think someone lied about me, provably false, and lied about me on Twitter for, I don't know what gain, but yeah, go figure. To Derek's point about avoiding drama, we should stop calling it drama. Because it delegitimizes actual proper times where someone goes, hey, this person's an asshole and they really, really don't deserve a place in our, like someone who's really, really, really bad, right? But it also encourages people to just label it as drama, legit points, and go, nah, put it all in a box, mute, don't care. That's fine, but it doesn't help let's take follower numbers into account. Someone with 10 followers who's just joined is suddenly getting dogpiled by someone with like 10,000 followers and an army. We should support that. Not support that person. Check the claims, verify everything, obviously. There's some pretty heinous stuff that gets tweeted a lot. So obviously if they're saying something bad, go and check it out. Don't just automatically support, but be a Backstreet Boy. Tell me why. Why? Ask the questions. Don't just immediately like and share, retweet, and then go off and have your dinner, because that could be the difference to someone going, I want to quit the industry, or even worse, which is terrifying. Steph said calling people out. I've done it before. It's dangerous. I'm probably one of the few people in the room that's blocked by about 90% of InfoSec Twitter at the moment, because I have called people out for being an asshole, or I have went, no, you're wrong. Why? It's not easy. I have seen people lose their jobs, and people have tried to make me lose my job, which is hilarious. When I used to work for myself, I got emails saying this person's an asshole, you should fire them. And I'm like, sure, I agree. It's tough. We just need to get better. We need to stop labeling everything as just drama when there's legitimate grievances. But the illegitimate grievances, the stuff that's like, oh my God, you can't change a light bulb. Like, piss off. It's not worth like 1,000 people getting pissed over it. We can't give it ear, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, okay, the person who shall not be named, there was stickers floating about and stuff. Let's be honest, that's just bullying. And when you start going, it's okay if we do it on him, but everyone else it would be bullying. No, it's bullying. Let's just call it bullying. Is that, trash that. We're better than that. Can you imagine the cool shit we could build if we actually just focused and worked together as a team? We don't need to like each other. We just need to work together. That's my personal thought.
Yeah, I just want to tie in on that. And you're right. There are legitimate times where it is legitimate to like go to bat for somebody and say something or stand up. And when you do see people getting put down for no reason, definitely. And it happens a lot. Somebody new to the industry will come in and, make a claim like, oh, well, I think this is the right way. And then all of a sudden you got 1 million people saying you should never be here. You have no space here. We as an industry are meant to research and learn every day. And if you're not going to go out and like look inside yourself and say, well, maybe I can make this teachable and help them out and be like, hey, look, man, let's talk offline. Let's figure this out. And we can get you to where, understand why this is wrong, instead of saying, go kill yourself, or you don't belong here, or whatever. While at the same time, I think, to your point, yes, he who must not be named has done a lot of heinous nonsense. But if the media still wants to promote him, that's fine. But us as an industry, the more you keep bringing this person up, the more people are going to see him, the more people are going to say, he's an influencer, let's hear what he has to say. If you want to silence someone, quit talking about them. On social media, the people who get seen are the people who are tagged, the people who you retweet, the people who you quote tweet. You don't even have to put their tag in there. You say their name without the @ sign on any platform, and guess what? The system picks it up, which means now you want to see more of their information. So you're now just giving them more platform. If you don't care, quit giving them a platform.
Okay, another question? Oh, Andrew?
Thank you. Trying to be more positive. I'm one of those strange people that actually likes Twitter despite the drama and all the problems that come with it. But I've got some ridiculously clever, intelligent colleagues, peers that somewhat sensibly ignore all of social media, don't want to get involved. But as a result, most of us don't hear their voices. I get the benefit just sitting having a pint with them. What can we do as an industry to try to encourage all of these brilliant people we've got in the industry to add their voices to the echo chamber? So for those on the live stream, I'm busy being articulated. Dave's waving his arms around and pointing out, it's B-sides, we're here. So question answered. Thank you.
Yeah, so other than, like, B-sides, any thoughts?
I have a thought. Some people just don't want to do that. They don't want to expose themselves in that way. They don't want to go online, not because of the quote-unquote drama or the potential fallout. It's just, it doesn't interest them. They do have some good points and some valuable takes on things. It's our job to go, hey, that's really, really cool. Coming back to the very first question, like, is everybody an influencer? Take that point and give that point to the world, because the whole point of our community is not so someone becomes a famous rock star, right? It shouldn't be the Scott McGready thing. It should just be the cool thing that happened, not the person. So it's the thing first and the person second. So if it's a cool idea, then look at B-sides. Free event for the community, by the community. Talks are free. Like, people are giving their research away freely. Okay, they might not be giving away commercial tools freely, but they're giving it away. There's no difference between, let me show you this cool tool, and here's a really, really cool point that you hear from your buddy down the pub, and you can then amplify it and tell someone else on Twitter or LinkedIn or wherever, hey, my friend said this. Yeah, attribution matters, but if they don't want to get involved, that's cool. But, if they start seeing the good feedback that's coming, or maybe even mediocre feedback that's coming back, going, yeah, you're wrong because you haven't thought about X, Y, and Z, they might go, hey, I kind of want to join the conversation there because that's my idea you're talking about. But some people don't want to join. And that's fine.
I think that one thing that I will say is that influencing or putting yourself out there and having a platform, for better or worse, and against even my instincts, because I prefer authenticity, it alters a bit how you communicate certain things or even what you communicate. There's a level of filtration that you create. To speak of the dogpiling incident, you get reactions, you learn, and you're like, okay, don't do that again, or we'll change that, or alter that, or create distance because I need to be able to say what I need to say or contribute to the industry in this way. But I don't want to get the unpleasant outcomes that can come from just being unfiltered. So I say all that to say that sometimes when you take people who are brilliant and have crazy good ideas in person or in a smaller environment, and you put them in a platform of a lot, and they get the full force of what that means, not everybody is interested in sharing so much so that they're willing to risk the other side of sharing, or the negative side of sharing. Not everybody will see that idea as brilliant. And as we know about, social media, people are very, very good at telling you what they think, for better or worse. So I feel like, to Scott's point, it's better to allow people the space to choose. Yes, I could be the Bill Gates, but do I really need to prove that? Or yes, I could be the next Steve Jobs, but maybe in this lifetime, I prefer to keep that to my circle. And then to Scott's point as well, asking that person, well, I think it's brilliant. I don't mind Spotlight. Do you mind if I borrow this concept, work on it, and present it? I think that if the person's cool with that, then of course, by all means, it can be a community thing. But I kind of disagree on the point of just because somebody creates something that it's for everyone. I do think that some permission should be taken into account in the beginning, especially when newly presenting something, just because I think protecting people's creativity is important and making sure people don't feel like they've been taken advantage of or stolen from and want to hide the things that they say in the future or adjust how they present in the future. I think proper permission should be taken. But if somebody has staunchly decided, I have no interest in the spotlight, I just like to tinker with these things and I have these ideas and I don't care about who knows, I'd rather die with the secret, it doesn't hurt to say, well, I don't mind and I would love for other people to know this and it would help so many people, so I will speak for you if you don't mind. But yeah, I think leave people where they would like to be. You can always encourage people who are just shy and have imposter syndrome to put themselves out there. But if people are cool with being in the, I think that we should just make more forums, more ways for people to be involved. That doesn't mean that they have to echo their thoughts every single day on a platform. Maybe there's some other, and there are lots of committees and things like that that contribute to policy or contribute to, standards. So yeah, that's my very messy 2 cents.
Yeah, I want to say it's one of those things, we've put so much stock in social media and in getting every voice, every opinion, every idea out there that we forget that there's real life and some people don't want to ever be seen online. And it is for no other reason than they don't want to be the person that gets blasted, or they don't want to have to defend their work. Their work is their own. If they're ready to ever show it, if they want this idea out there, then they will eventually come to that, or they'll go into business, or they'll go work with someone and have a partner. And there's a big difference between a business entity putting information out there versus an individual person. Because it's one thing to be a business idea. It's a whole other thing when this person has an idea and everybody just completely destroys them because they had an idea that the community didn't see as valid. And if we take away that human element, the online community eliminates the human element. People no longer care that you're human. You are now just bits and bytes online. And there are too many trolls, too many negative people that just find our community and tear people down. That to have someone finally put themselves out there, I don't encourage people to do it unless they want to. I do think it's easier to get a job. So if you're new to the field, yes, put some ideas, put your work out there to get a job these days. But in terms of being an influencer, no. Never, I will never say this is the route for you. I will say, hey, you want to go for it. If not, live your life. Do what you do and be happy. Because social media and being an influencer, you can become very miserable very quickly and it'll destroy you.
We were going really, really positive and happy for a while there. And now, thanks. Okay.
I try, you're not.
No, but to be serious, yeah, it's a sad state of affairs that the people don't feel comfortable or happy to share because of fear. And that's the bad side of these sorts of platforms. Right, time for one more question.
Sorry. I've got a two-parter, I think.
No, just one.
Okay. Explain to a 6-year-old what a decent, acceptable use policy should be about using the internet. And secondly, how can you encourage people to present information in a positive way to create a virtuous rather than a vicious circle? Is that not the answer?
talk in itself.
Is that not summarised by "Don't be a dick"?
Yeah, I was going to say don't be a dick. Yeah, and you can explain that to a 6-year-old; they get it.
Yeah, that sums it up. I mean, don't put anything online that you wouldn't want your parents to see.
Or your employer.
Well, I'm buggered.
All right.
I guess I would say, yeah, I agree with both of them. And I would also say, like I said, it's just a lot more funner it's a lot more fun to think of things to share kindly. Like, I don't know, to be an asshole takes, and maybe for some people, it takes a lot of effort and energy unless you've done something to me for me to really conjure up asshole to give back. It just is a lot more fun when you come up with really playful ways or relatable ways for people to understand concepts. So in coursework I've made, I make it as relatable as possible. I talked about how children are social engineers, and it's the truth. So that was a fun explanation for a lot of people. And they were like, my children are social engineers. So I think it's just so much more fun to find a way to relate to whoever you're talking to, find out what matters to them, and then focus. So yeah, I would say just have fun. And I think what you could, well, for some people, I guess when you're having fun, it's at some people's demise. But I would say in general, have fun in a positive way and just try to make people feel better than when you approach them.
Thank you very much.
Just to expand my don't be a dick slightly. And this is a bigger point kind of around influencing in our community and stuff. The Hacker Manifesto was written in like almost 40 years ago now, right? And it talks about being curious. And it comes back to my point about tell me why. I think that my actual proper real answer here would be don't snuff out the flames of curiosity. And that's it. And we keep seeing this over and over again. You know, fuck you, how dare you do that thing? Oh, block this person because he dared ask the question. You should just know that. No, like the whole community was built on this foundation of like being curious and respectfully disagreeing with one another. If we can reteach that to the community and go, hey, we're allowed to not agree. We're allowed to not always see eye to eye on things. You can teach that to a 6-year-old in 10 minutes or less. It's okay to question things. Please do be curious. If we can do that, that would solve a lot of the problems and go, it's okay to be curious, but don't be pissed off when it's not the answer you wanted. That would be my non-shitposty answer. Also, don't be a dick.
So, biggest takeaways, be nice, be curious, don't be a dick. Would you say? Yep. Thank you so much, Derek, Stephanie, and Scott. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for. Give them a big hand.